Yes. Can everyone check the sound and one by one and speak a few words?
Test one.
Test two.
Can you check the sound? Hello?
Test.
Can you tell the rest?
I think we need to get the phone first.
Test.
Because otherwise,
Let's
and
start.
as always, because I'm really short.
Who is going to start?
Test.
Susan.
Mine. When I'm
I'm speaking first. You next.
okay.
How to put it down? Because I am short.
Oh. I don't know actually. Maybe you can just do.
Yes.
Actually, you know what?
Or
we
take the
can
microphone.
I think that's better.
All right. Okay. This one is better. Yes.
We're using this together.
Yeah.
Right?
But
Right.
I'm not sure how far you have to be or how.
I think you should be as close as you can.
Yeah.
So what?
So we come closer.
We have to be as well.
As close as we can.
Do we hold it or do we have?
Actually, yes.
It's better to hold it, isn't it? Because otherwise, Yes.
And then when I finish, just give it. Or she has to present to you. You are just fine. Did you get some?
This time I slept more than a few hours. Five or 6 hours.
So everybody's going to introduce themselves before they speak. So your name, your position.
Okay.
We'll have everybody introduce themselves before they speak, rather than Maria introducing everybody
Where?
at once.
Here?
Your name,
No.
position,
Good
maybe
question.
what country you're from.
Well, 30. How we don't know. Okay.
I'm not your right. And I love you.
I also give the number of NGOs collaborative in that question.
Came with me, but of course he disappeared.
Trust you and he knows you are going to do just fine. She will do some. Yeah, I can. He's doing much more. That things he's some staples will be missing. And yeah, so he gets to do that. He can get to do that. Okay, perfect. Yeah. And you are, let's say, he has his role, you have your role.
Suffered in total. Fire, water. Was it?
Yes, I am the fire. He is the stick of water.
That's a good one.
But how could it be, all the fire boomerang together?
You know, there's a movie called Magnolias. Magnolias are flowers, but still made of metal.
Yes.
Okay, then we can start. Okay. Guys, are we ready to start?
Okay.
Yes? Okay. Bon dia a tothom, benvinguts a Barcelona. Començarem ara la roda de premsa de la nova missió de la Global Sumud Flotilla. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Barcelona. We're honored and privileged to have you here. We will now begin the press conference for the new mission. I am Maria Serra, a student and an activist in the Catalan delegation. Barcelona and Catalonia has been long-standing with Palestine for years. We're honored to yet again launch this mission from here. We have a long history of standing with Palestine. We have done not only launches from the flotilla, we have also done general strikes, we have done encampments in universities, we have done mass protests for the past 3 years. The people of Barcelona and Catalonia are with the people of Palestine, Lebanon, and Iran in times like this. We will now proceed to explain to you our mission. The steering committee and representatives will now talk.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you all for having us here. We sure feel like we are at home when we are in Barcelona. My name is Sumud Flotilla. I am Palestinian from Gaza, living currently in Norway, and a steering committee member for Global Sumud Flotilla. And today I would like to talk a little bit more about why we are here. I am a Palestinian, and my story is a typical Palestinian story of a family of refugees. It started in 1948 when my grandparents were young and they were forced out of their home in Sawafir, a small village, and they had to leave their home, they had to leave their land. And my grandmother was pregnant with my father, her firstborn, and they walked all the way to Gaza. And he was the first refugee born in family in a tent. And it did not stop just there, because in 1967, again, they had to face the occupations, at that time, invasion and occupation of Gaza Strip. And at that time, they started to arrest all the young men that are the age of resistance. So my father and his siblings had to flee from Gaza. And then he went to Cairo, and from Cairo to Lebanon. And in Lebanon, he met my mother, also a Palestinian refugee, daughter of a 1948 Palestinian refugee from Safad in northern part of Palestine. She was in Sumud Flotilla, living in Sumud Flotilla. They got married and had us 3 children. And even then, it was not, and it did not end. Because in 1982, the Israeli occupation led by Sharon helped the armed militia in Lebanon commit Sumud Flotilla massacre. I was 4 years old, and I still remember how it was like for my mother with 3 children, a 6-month-old baby, and 2 children, and how we had to get ready. We had to sleep in our clothes, in our shoes, and we had no food. We were ready to flee whenever we had a chance to do so. And to do so, we had to pretend that we are not Palestinians, because at that time, being Palestinian means to be massacred at the spot. And I remember my mother's voice telling us, do not speak, do not say a word, because our dialect would give us away and they would kill us. And then my family fled to Yemen, and from Yemen to Egypt, and then the Oslo Agreement in 1996 was signed, and we could finally go back to Gaza. And my father could be united with his family in Gaza. And again, when you think you can be at peace, it never is at peace. I got married and I had my children in Gaza. And then in December 2008, the occupation started, the attack, Hamas-led attack in Gaza. And again, we remember, just like you remember the good moments, you remember the difficult moments. And I remember it was a Saturday. I was at home with a 2-year-old daughter when it started to rain. And when I say rain, it actually did rain. There were bombs all over the place. And the windows were shaking and the glass was scattered over all, and I didn't know what to do. I had a 5-year-old in the school and a 2-year-old at home. What do you do when you are surrounded by bombing and you don't know? You have a child, You don't want to risk the child's life and go out on the streets and maybe the bombing would kill you and the child. And you don't want to leave a 5-year-old at school. You need to go get a 5-year-old. You don't know what to do. As a mother, that was a very difficult moment that I keep and I remember until now. And all of a sudden, I hear my son's screaming and crying from the 5th floor. He had come home with the neighbor's son running home. And I remember his words until now. You didn't come and get me. This is something that is very common for Palestinians. And then, this was 2008, Cast-led, December. It ended in January 2009, 22 days of constant bombing and attacks on Gaza, with no food, no water, with small children, and you have to leave your home, and you don't know where to go, you don't know what to take. What do you take with you? It's very easy to think, this is all my life. I'm just taking my children, and I have to find a safe place. But there was no safe place. And again, the difficulties, it's not just the bombing, it's surviving. And just as I remember all the difficult moments, I remember also the good moments. I'm grateful for how we Palestinians stand together in difficulties, in moments like this. And I remember a neighbor that had flour and she was baking bread. And she came to us with some bread. And she told me, I know you have small children. And I know that you don't have food. So this is very important. We Palestinians go through hell, and we still have time to look after each other. I remember that. In 2009, that's when I took my children, and I also, just like my grandmother had to flee, I fled Gaza because my house was bombed. My school, I am a teacher. I used to work as a teacher in Gaza. My school was bombed. And I keep saying, we were civilians in Gaza, and there was no threat to anybody from my school, no threat to anybody from my, from where I am, from I was living. So it's very important to think about all that and think about where we are today. We have been demonstrating for 3 years against everything that's been happening in Gaza. The genocide we have never seen anything like it before. And it's been very difficult for us living in other places to watch the genocide in Gaza, because it's not really, it's not easy to watch and feel like you are helpless. And that's why it's very important that we do something about it, that we raise our voices and try to actually join forces and make this end. And I remember one important thing that happened while I was trying to watch the news on Gaza. It was June 2025, and I got a message from Gaza that it was not just bombing they were dropping. The occupation was not just dropping bombs on Gaza. They were actually in the middle of the starvation, in the middle of the blockade, in the middle of the genocide. They were dropping flyers on Gaza, telling the people in Gaza, we are killing you, and nobody cares. This was very difficult for me to hear, because for people in Gaza, they don't know. They are disconnected from the world, almost don't know what we're doing. When they hear about what we're doing, it gives them hope. So this flyer was killing, even psychological killing them, killing the hope in Gaza. And I think being here today with everybody from the steering committee in Global Sumud Flotilla, from the people that are volunteering to participate to be on the boats, from the volunteers and the people working here, everybody. We show the world, we show Gaza that we do care, that we are not going to stay silent. We refuse to stay silent. We rise and we will do our best to end the occupation and break the siege of Gaza. Thank you.
I think it's really important that you did this introduction as a Palestinian comrade of our steering committee. I'm really thankful to listen to those words. I'm Sumeyra, coming actually from Turkey, born and based in Germany, and I am a teacher as well. I am teaching since years, and actually the reason also why I am here is that I don't want to witness again and again children who are afraid to go to any schools. I don't want to witness any limit of access to education, of access to medication. And when you were talking actually about the school, I was just having the flashbacks of all the scenes. We are living in a dystopic world right now. It's happening everything in front of our eyes, live streamed. And sometimes we're thinking maybe that we are not powerful enough. But this people power is so important, as you said, because they are disconnected. And if we are not showing our solidarity in this kind of international way, we are here so important. Because the enemy is not giving up. Why should we give up? The Israeli regime used weapons in Gaza that caused thousands of Palestinians to evaporate. I want you to sit with that word, evaporate. High temperature bombs, experimental weapons tested on human beings, innocent human beings, who did not die in ways we have words for. There were no bodies to bury, no graves to mark, no remains of loved ones who left behind, just absence. This is erasure in the truest sense of the word. And it does not happen in isolation. While Gaza burned, the United States kept signing the weapon transfers. The United Kingdom kept approving the export licenses. And Germany, where I am living right now, which knows better than any nation on earth what it means to be implicated in atrocity, continued shipping arms to Israel, even as the ICJ was examining charges of genocide. The country that built its post-war identity on never again is now a weapons supplier to a live genocide. That demands to be said out loud. And every one of these countries using the tax dollars, including mine, of their citizens to enable, excuse, and commit genocide is complicit. The EU, as an institution, offered political cover. And while governments deliberated, Rheinmetall and Elbit filled the order books. Google and Amazon handed over the cloud infrastructure. The military-industrial complex did not need to believe in this war. It only needed to profit from it. The Israeli regime did not act alone. It acted with permission and impunity, purchased, signed, and delivered. And violence and war crimes committed with no accountability does not stay contained. It expands. Just days ago, the Israeli regime bombed Lebanon 100 times in 10 minutes. 100 times in 10 minutes. This is what imperial violence looks like when it's allowed to continue and breed. It does not stop at one border, one people, one generation. It metastasizes. As Audre Lorde said, your silence will not protect you. What we permit in Gaza, we invite everywhere. That's why we are here. That's why people's mobilization is not optional. Because states have failed, institutions have failed, and every day we wait. Every day we defer to the processes that have already proven themselves useless. Palestinians and countless people across the region die, not abstractly, specifically, with names, with families, with children who ran home alone through the bombs. Waiting has a body count. Body count. What we bring is a drop in the bucket compared to what Gaza needs. We know that. But in the face of this level of violation, in the face of this level of impunity, the only moral response is to act constantly, continuously, on land, at sea, in every single community around the world, without waiting for permission from the institutions that granted permission for this. We are an initiative, a grassroots movement, which is Palestinian-led. We are not like the peace border, which is excluding the Palestinians. We are here with our Palestinian comrades to show our international solidarity because we have no time. Thank you.
Hello, Barcelona. I'm Maimon from Indonesia, around 12,000 miles from here. So it's very far. And the reason why I came here, be part of the Global Sumud, because our government, which in a way bound by the national constitution to be an anti-imperialism, anti-occupation, seems like they are, in a way, a bit lacking in supporting the Palestine, and that's why people move. I have to tell you that in 1944, the leader of Palestinian people go talk to Radio German, saying that Indonesia already independent from Dutch occupation, although at the time we are not yet independent. And in 1948, Ali Taher, one of the richest people in Palestine, took all the money and then gave it to Indonesian people to support for our independence struggle. And at that time, Palestinians also facing the persecution from the Zionist entity such as Haganah, Irgun. And so we Indonesians believe that, being with Palestinian is like paying the debt. When we were in need, Palestinians helped us to gain our independence. So we believe that although it's really far from Indonesia, coming here to Barcelona, this is why we are moving, because the government have failed. Those entrusted with power has chosen silence over justice. They complicit in this genocide. They have their own interests over humanity. They normalize suffering, and they justified siege. They allowed the entire Gaza reduced to rubble. There's no way to live properly there. So the people move. And I believe that's because this as well, that you are here as well, together with us. Because government failed. United Nations is supposed to have the power, a total power in front of the other government. They just refuse to acknowledge that the veto system is really hindering the justice. So that's why we are here. When the diplomacy become paralyzed, and then it's come to the people to do something. I know it's not easy. Many of us left our children behind. I have 5 years old, kept asking me why you are going always all the time. And I said, it's because, I love Palestine and I want to do something about it. And something funny, he said, Iran already taking care of it. Why are you still going out? And I said, it's not enough. People have to move as well. There is no stopping. The condition is right now. It's not easy. But then if we standing still, it's become surrender. And I don't know about you, but then when we are not doing anything, we feel like, depression, isn't it? That's how I feel. If I don't do anything, it feels like really struggling just to take breath. So I have to do something to keep going, because otherwise then there is no more life. From land to sea, inshallah, the global sumud is coming. From land to sea, inshallah, the global sumud is coming. It's coming. We are not coming for a savior, for a hero, but we want to be part of it. We want to be there. We want we want Gaza people to know that, they are not left behind. Like my sister said that. We are one big family, human being. And their struggle is not forgotten. Their struggle is our struggle. Indonesian struggle before they claim it to be their struggle. And this is the time for us to say, no, we are with you. And so we move together with you as well. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Eva Saldaña, the Executive Director of Greenpeace Spain and Portugal. And it's a real pleasure to be here. From the Arctic to the Mediterranean, Greenpeace ships have been always tools for justice. And today, that's justice providing support to those who are breaking the seas of Gaza. It is our moral obligation, and we are honored to answer the call to join the Sumud Flotilla with our ship, the Arctic Sunrise, to provide technical and operational support. Peace is not a luxury for stable times. Peace is a fundamental requirement to planetary survival. We cannot help the planet while we are busy wounding each other. To demand climate justice is to demand at the end of the machinery of the war. We recognize a fundamental truth. You cannot separate the protection of the planet from the protection of the people who live in it. And we must face another uncomfortable truth. We will never find real solutions without a profound change to the socio-economic system, a system that prioritizes the profits of a few over the lives of the majority. The same greed that fuels the fossil fuel industry is the same greed that profits from the machinery of the war. If you call yourself a climate activist, if you care about the future of the Earth, you cannot ignore Palestine. Palestine is also a climate justice issue. What we are witnessing in Gaza is not just a humanitarian catastrophe, it's a profound ecocide. For 2.5 years, the Israel government has not only targeted human life, they have targeted the very systems that make life possible. The soil. Over 70% of Gaza agricultural land has been raised or poisoned. The water. 95% of the water is now undrinkable. The infrastructure has collapsed, and the sea is filled with waste. The air. The carbon footprint of this war, the bombs, the fires, the constant military machinery, is suffocating the planet. Peace is not just the absence of bombs. Peace is the ability to drink clean water. It's the ability to grow food in healthy soil. It is the right to clean, healthy, and sustainable environment, a fundamental human right that is being systematically dismantled in Gaza. War, poisoning, everything. It leaves behind a toxic legacy that persists for generations, long after the sirens stop. By destroying the social and ecological fabric of Gaza, the blockade is committing a crime against the future. And let us be clear, silence is not neutral. Governments that turn a blind eye are not just ignoring a genocide, they are enabling an ecocide. They are allowing the destruction of international law and the destruction of the earth itself. To the government of the world, end your silence. Uphold the law. Protect humanitarian action. Demand an end to this blockade now. We are not waiting for permission to be human. We sail because we believe that justice is a collective leverage. We sail because the people of Gaza have the right to exist, to breathe, and to thrive on their own land. There is no climate justice on occupied land. There is no green future built on genocide. We are sailing for Gaza. We are sailing for the earth. We are sailing for our common humanity. We care. We care. We are so truly care. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Very good morning to everyone. Buenos dias, bon dia, as we say it here. I am Nade Al-Nouri from Malaysia. I represent the coalition of the Sumud Nusantara, which is a coalition of 20 countries from Southeast Asia and South Asian countries. And I came here with Dr. Maimun to be a part of this movement to break the siege. The siege, which I have experienced firsthand in the Gaza Strip. I have been living there from 2013 to 2023. We faced complications, we faced hardships to exit the Gaza Strip, but unfortunately the siege that is happening was not just as long as memory serves, because the siege, it started in 2007, where the people of Gaza did not have access like normal human beings to medication, to education, even for relationships, where they could not go out and meet their family members who had been displaced long ago to live outside of the Gaza Strip and outside of Palestine. And today, the situation has worsened. We are seeing how there are 10,000 sick people waiting to get out of the border. And we have seen instances where some of them even died at the border waiting to get out. My family member who tried to get into the Gaza Strip from Egypt after taking medication in Egypt had to wait days to get back into Gaza. And even when they passed the Palestinian border, they had to face 4 more checkpoints from 4 different countries and organizations who suddenly had the right to stop people from entering their own countries. And unfortunately, one of the checkpoints was even from the mafia Abu Shabab inside of the Gaza Strip. And when she managed to enter, she did not enter into Rafah. She went into Rafah and had to pass through Rafah into Khan Yunis, because Rafah in Gaza is no more. Rafah has been taken by the Israeli occupation forces and is under their full control. People of the world, we are not sailing just to break the siege, but we are going to break a lot more things on our way. We are going to break the global order. We are going to break countries who are complicit in in what Israel is doing. We are going to break injustice and evil that has prevailed for too long in the world that we see today. I am from Malaysia. I am proud to say that our government, our Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, he is the patron of our Sumud Nusantara coalition. He has been with us all along this way. He has shown us his support, and we have seen support not only from our Prime Minister, but also from our King, our government, and our people. And we can proudly say, if the ants, which is called Sumud in our country, close to Sumud, can speak, they will say that we are also supporting Palestine. So we call upon the leaders of the world, countries, especially in our region, who represent more than half of the Muslim population. We call upon the leaders of Pakistan, the leaders of Indonesia. We call upon the leaders of Bangladesh and all these other big countries to do much, much more. We can be on the right side of history. We can do the right thing, and we can do it now. So let's do this together, and let's change history. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Dr. Aziz Ali from Maghreb Sumud. I will answer for the question why we are sailing, and I will speak in French in order to give you a small picture about the situation in health in Gaza. Par mon expérience, en 2008, j'étais à l'hôpital Aouda, dans le nord de Gaza, et en 2014, j'étais à l'hôpital Shifa. C'était tout simplement une guerre de 20 jours, et à partir de la deuxième semaine, on a commencé à remarquer qu'il y a une baisse très importante dans les stocks de médicaments. Donc vous pouvez bien penser qu'après une guerre de 20 jours, 25 jours, il l'a comparé avec une guerre qui dure maintenant 2 ans et quelques mois. J'essaierai de donner quelques statistiques que dans la réalité, en dehors des images du président d'État qui signe des accords. Maintenant, à Gaza, le nombre de camions qui entrent ne dépasse pas 200 camions, alors que dans l'accord, on parle de 600 camions. Maintenant, à Gaza, il y a 18 000 patients qui attendent d'être transférés en dehors de Gaza pour avoir des soins. Entre ces 18 000, il y a 3 800 enfants. Pour les enfants, je vais donner un exemple plus concret. En janvier 2024, il y avait 3 500 enfants qui ont le diabète de type 1, c'est-à-dire ils ont besoin d'insuline. Dans le dernier rapport du mois de mars, ils ne sont que 400. Ce n'est pas à cause du diabète, mais c'est à cause du manque de l'insuline. Les gens à Gaza, ils étaient obligés d'utiliser l'insuline périmée. Ou bien ils essaient un petit peu d'utiliser des doses qui ne correspondent pas à leur maladie. Par exemple, un malade, au lieu de prendre 2 doses d'insuline, il ne prend qu'une seule, à cause du manque de l'insuline. De même pour les gens qui souffrent de l'insuffisance rénale. En janvier 2024, il y avait 1100 personnes qui souffrent d'insuffisance rénale et qui reçoivent des dialyses 3 fois par semaine. Mais non, ils ne sont que 400. Et ils ne reçoivent le dialyse qu'une fois par semaine au lieu de 3 fois par semaine. La même situation pour les gens qui sont malades de cancer. Maintenant, à nos jours, les stocks de médicaments dans pas mal d'hôpitaux à Gaza, d'ailleurs les hôpitaux ne fonctionnent pas à leur totalité, tout simplement ils essaient un petit peu de gérer la situation. Il y a un manque terrible, il y a même des stocks zéro pour des anticancéreux, pour des antibiotiques et même pour des anesthésies. Donc vous pouvez bien imaginer un hôpital, je suis pharmacien, je sais, lorsqu'un pharmacien rentre dans le stock, vérifie les stocks et là, il trouve dans les anesthésies zéro. Comment on va faire pour faire les opérations maintenant à Gaza? La situation du système de santé, j'étais à Bagdad lors de la guerre de 2006 à Ben Jbel, je n'ai jamais entendu et suivi une situation pareille. C'est pourquoi on a vraiment besoin d'une grande solidarité à l'échelle internationale pour essayer un petit peu de sauver la situation. Il y a le manque de médecins, le manque d'infirmiers, mais le plus important, c'est le manque de médicaments et le manque de dispositifs médicaux. L'OMS bien les gens qui travaillent à l'OMS, ils ont arrêté leur travail, ça fait maintenant 4 mois, à cause que l'État israélien a tué 2 gens qui travaillent avec l'OMS. Je pense que demain, il est maintenant des négociations, demain ils vont reprendre, mais malheureusement, il attend toujours des garanties pour que les gens qui travaillent pour l'OMS ne soient pas tués par l'État israélien. La situation, elle est très difficile. Vous ne pouvez imaginer, j'essaie tout simplement de donner une image simple de ce qui se passe avec les enfants atteints de diabète de type 1, de cancéreux, mais vous pouvez bien imaginer des gens maintenant, les gens qui vivent avec une tension artérielle de 15/10, il est considéré par les médecins comme normal, tout simplement parce qu'il n'y a pas de médicaments. Donc Gaza a besoin de notre solidarité. Aujourd'hui, il y a des camarades qui vont partir aussi, mais notre solidarité doit être continue parce que vraiment Gaza a besoin de nous. On parle de génocide, mais ce qui se passe à Gaza, on peut même parler de génocide et parler aussi d'un herbicide. Il y a une destruction de la vie à Gaza. Et merci à vous.
Buenos días.
To translate briefly in English, that was about how Gaza needs solidarity not only because of the food shortage and shortage of a bunch of supplies, but specifically medical supplies are in severe shortage in Gaza. He was talking about having worked at multiple hospitals in Gaza and the lack of insulin and other medicines. Right now, the Israeli siege is preventing a significant amount of medication from getting into the Gaza Strip, and so the flotilla is carrying medication that is otherwise not allowed, and also carrying doctors who can ideally put a stop to the Israeli siege on medicine. It's a very severe situation in hospitals where people are not able to get access to significant enough care, so folks who otherwise would survive in other countries with typical access to medical equipment are not able to survive in Gaza. So even doctors are not able to complete some of the most simple operations because of the lack of equipment.
Buenos días a todos y a todas. Soy Oscar Camps, el director de Open Arms. Open Arms es una pequeña organización local, una respuesta ciudadana a la vulneración de los derechos humanos.
Good morning, everyone. I am Oscar. Good morning, everyone. I'm Oscar Camps. I'm director of Open Arms, a small local organization that came as a response from the civil society.
Como europeo, me gustaría que todos hoy hiciéramos una pequeña reflexión.
As a European, I would like all of us today to make a small reflection
sobre los derechos humanos. Los derechos humanos son probablemente la mejor idea que ha tenido la humanidad y a la vez la más incómoda.
Small reflection about human rights. Probably human rights is the best idea that the humanity had, and at the same time the most uncomfort.
Nacieron de la vergüenza de la guerra, de la necesidad de evitar que volviéramos a mirar hacia otro lado mientras ardían seres humanos en campos de concentración.
It was born out of the shame of the war, the necessity of avoiding to look to the other side while the other side is burning human beings in the concentration camp.
Y sin embargo, 75 años después, lo volvemos a consentir, solo que ahora es en Gaza. Y no podemos decir que no lo sabíamos.
And 75 years later, we allow it again. However, this time in Gaza. And we cannot say that we didn't know.
Europa habla de los derechos humanos con voz solemne, como si fueran una propiedad privada. Los enseñamos a los demás como quien muestra un antiguo trofeo, pero ya no sabemos qué hacer con ellos.
Europe speak about human rights with a clear voice, as it was a private property, and then they teach it to the others as an trophy.
Our.
Yes, as it's our gift, our winning, that is so old, but it doesn't know what to do with that outcome.
Hemos convertido la Declaración Universal de los Derechos Humanos en una especie de pieza de museo.
We have converted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights as a piece of museum.
La visitamos de vez en cuando, nos emocionamos unos minutos y después nos marchamos sin leer el texto completo.
We visit it now and then, we get emotional for a few hours, few minutes, and then after that we leave without even reading the whole text.
Si hoy la volviéramos a escribir, seguramente alguien diría que es demasiado naif, que es demasiado cara. Incluso algunos, como Ursula von der Leyen, dirían que es demasiado ideológica.
If we would write it again right now, I'm sure somebody would say that it's too naive, that it's too costly, or even worse, that it's too ideological.
Vivimos en una época en la que se citan los derechos humanos con la misma frivolidad con la que se cita un eslogan publicitario, ¿no? Pero los derechos humanos dejan de ser teóricos y si se convierten en cuerpos que llegan a nuestras costas.
Yeah. We live in a time where human rights, where we mention human rights with the same announcement as we mention publicity slogans. But when human rights stop being theoretical, when it becomes bodies, true bodies that are arriving to our shores.
Cuando los cuerpos llegan a nuestras cosas, la cosa cambia. De repente ya no son humanos, son ilegales, migrantes, problemas.
When those bodies arrive to our shores, those things change. All of a sudden, they are not humans anymore. They become illegals, they become migrants, they become problems, they become invaders.
Y eso no solo pasa en el mar. Pasamos años hablando de Gaza, de niños sin agua, hospitales sin luz, ciudades reducidas a escombros, y todavía tenemos el cinismo de discutir si esto entra o no en la definición de genocidio.
And this doesn't only happen at sea. We have been for years speaking about Gaza, about kids without water, about hospitals without light, about cities that are being reduced into dumps, and even though we have the cynicism to discuss if this is defined as genocide or not.
La semántica como salvavidas moral, el arte de proteger nuestra conciencia mientras mueren criaturas debajo del polvo.
Yeah. Semiotics as a moral salvation, the art of protecting our conscience while so many kids die under the rubble.
Europa se proclama guardiana de los derechos humanos y envía condolencias. Y después, contratos de armas.
Europe, which pretend to be the guardian of human rights, they send their condolences, and after that, the contracts of weapons.
Es su talento, saber compatibilizar la empatía con el negocio.
It's a true talent, how you can make compatible your empathy with business.
Nos horroriza el dolor si sale en las noticias, pero si viene con facturas pagadas y firmadas, entonces Europa dice, es que es muy difícil, es complicado.
Yeah, we get the horror of the pain when it comes through the news, but if it comes together with signed invoices and paid, then Europe would say it's too complex.
Es la nueva gramática de la civilización, que conjuga los verbos de condenar, lamentar y continuar.
This is the new grammatic of the civilization that brings together the verbs of condemning, continuing and
Llorar.
and feeling sorry.
Los derechos humanos son incómodos porque nos exigen coherencia y la coherencia hoy es casi subversiva.
The human rights are complicated because they demand coherence. And coherence today, it's subversive.
Europa es un continente envejecido que sufre una enfermedad muy particular, la pérdida del sentido del ridículo. Y
Europe is an old continent today that is suffering from a very specific illness, the loss of the ridiculous sense.
habla de los derechos humanos con la misma naturalidad con la que vende armas a quien los viola.
They speak about human rights with the same naturality as the ones who sell weapons to the ones who violate them.
Hace minutos de silencio mientras firma contratos millonarios. Se emociona con los refugiados hasta que llegan a tierra europea.
They make silence minutes while they sign millionaire contracts. And they get excited about the idea of refugees until they arrive to the European lands.
Durante años hemos repetido el mismo cuento, ¿no? Europa, faro de civilización, cuna de valores universales, pero quizás ya va siendo hora de reconocer que este faro hace tiempo que no ilumina nada y que solo sirve para tomarse fotos, para hacernos selfies.
For so many years we have been repeating the same stories. Europe, the light of civilization, the place of universal values, but maybe it is about time that we start to recognize that this light, since a long time, has no illumination, and it only serves to take selfies.
Europa no es un faro, es un decorado. Una escenografía en la que todo parece muy correcto, pero si rascamos un poco, debajo sale el cinismo.
Europe is not a light. It's a decoration. It's a scenography in where everything looks correct until you scratch a little bit and then you find the cynicism below.
Sus discursos están llenos de palabras muy grandes como solidaridad, dignidad y libertad. Pero cuando alguien las toma en serio, lo hacen callar.
The speeches and declarations are filled with important words like solidarity, dignity, and freedom. But when someone takes those words seriously, they force them to be silent.
Cuando alguien rescata, lo procesan. Cuando alguien denuncia, lo dejan solo.
When someone rescues, they persecute them. When someone denounces, they leave them alone.
Europa no ha perdido la brújula moral, la ha vendido y la ha vendido a buen precio.
Europe did not lose the moral compass. They sold it, and they sold it at a good price.
Pero todavía hay otra Europa, pequeña, empeñada, terca, la que no tiene bandera ni himno, pero sí conciencia y humanidad.
But still, there is another Europe, a smaller one, but a stronger, firm one, that doesn't have a flag, that doesn't have a national song, but it has conscience, it has humanity.
La Europa de los trabajadores, los maestros, los pescadores, los estudiantes, los médicos. La de los que actúan sin pedir permiso, sin cámaras, sin sueldos, sin escudos.
The Europe of the workers, the teachers, the fisher persons, the students, and the doctors. The ones who act without asking for permission, without cameras, without a salary, and without protection.
Es la única Europa que todavía me hace sentir parte de ella.
This is the only Europe that I can feel part of.
La otra, la oficial, hace años que solo me provoca vergüenza.
The other one, the official one, for so many years, it only provokes shame.
Y nos queda la sociedad civil.
And we still have the civil society.
Siempre hablamos de la sociedad civil como si fuera una entidad abstracta, una especie de espíritu colectivo que flota por encima de nosotros.
We speak always about civil society as an abstract entity, some kind of spiritual one, a collective that floats above us.
Pero la sociedad civil no es una idea, somos nosotros, vosotros, todos.
But civil society is not an idea. It's us, you, them,
Y la flotilla.
and the flotilla.
La flotilla compuesta por más de 80 barcos, con 1000 tripulantes de 70 países,
Flotilla with over than 80 boats, with over than 1,000 participants from over than 70 countries.
gente empeñada, terca, persistente,
People who are determined, firm, persistent,
que se embarcará hoy
that will depart from Barcelona today
y no solamente llevará ayuda humanitaria,
and is not only carrying humanitarian aid,
hoy también se embarcará la poca humanidad que le queda a Europa.
hoy also the little remaining humanity that left in Europe will depart too.
Y espero que todo salga bien. Muchas gracias.
Gracias. Buen día. Bueno, hablaré en inglés. Okay. Facts matter in our life, in our values, in our principles. Facts matter. 6 months of ceasefire, where Israel has violated for 2,073 times, and we are still being told that ceasefire exists. Facts matter. 723 Palestinians have been assassinated by the Israeli government inside Gaza, and we are still being told that ceasefire exists. The yellow line that they have drawn again when occupying and colonizing land as part of the progress of leaving Gaza is only growing. More than 63% of Gaza is under the control of the occupation forces, and we are being told that ceasefire exists. Facts matter. When the Israeli missionary for 6 months tried to silence the world after more than 3 years of mobilizations non-stop every day that forced them to sign such agreement. When they impose blackout on all communication, that no one talks about the situation in Palestine, and people are being told that there is peace, that ceasefire is in place, that the humanitarian aid is entering through the borders of Gaza, when less than 10% of the needs of the Palestinians in Gaza is being served. Facts matter. When the whole world is supporting and pushing for a ceasefire through the war between Iran, US, and Israel, they signed the ceasefire. They attack Lebanon in the same night and kill more than 500 persons. And then they declare that Lebanon and Gaza are not part of the ceasefire, and they continue bombing. Facts matter. When they take advantage of the war to pass penalty law, an apartheid, genocidal, shameful law against the Palestinian prisoners. And we are being told that peace is in process, that ceasefire is in place, passing laws that literally allows them to colonize the whole of the West Bank and displace the Palestinians who are in the West Bank out of there. Facts matter. This moment that we are being told because of geopolitics, because of mobilizations, because of media, is the moment to act, for solidarity to be truthful, for the people of the world to stand against repression, for us to mobilize, we have to do that every day. All what we heard about the things that are happening in Palestine, the things that are happening around the world, in Africa, in Latin America, the values that Oscar tried to remind us, the principles that Greenpeace talked about, those do not come free. Those are not going to arrive at the doors of our house in a gift box. Those are an outcome of a continuous result of struggle, of resistance, of persistence to achieve those rights. They are not going to come free for us. Solidarity cannot be an eventual moment in our life. Acting and mobilizing cannot be on our free time. It has to be the principal action of our day-to-day life. We sail when we can, not when the time is good, not when the environment allows. When our boats are ready, we sail. When the weather allows us to sail, we sail. But meanwhile, we mobilize in every corner of the world. We bring people to the street. We have students in their encampments. We have port workers defending our own ports that are being forced to be complicit in the war, in the genocide, in the occupation. We sail because governments have failed. Because when the responsibility of the politicians to protect the human rights stop to be element of act for them, that responsibility does not disappear. It does not evaporate as what Israel have done to the Palestinian bodies. It transforms. It becomes the responsibility of the civil society that Oscar spoke about. We mobilize on land, on sea, by having convoys going through North Africa, by having boats going through the Mediterranean from Marseille to Gaza, by going through different types of actions in all the cities of the world. Our campaigning team today announces the mobilization of We Rise. We rise because it is our right to speak loud, to break the chains that they have imposed on our minds. They want a society that feels helpless, that cannot act, that cannot mobilize, that accepts as a de facto the outcomes of the wars that they commit in our name. It's okay that we pay for it. We refuse to be that society. Therefore, we rise with social movements, with partners, with so many organizations and students and workers' unions all around the world. While the boats are going through the sea, we will have actions in every corner because we rise. It's our right. The streets are always ours as long as we reclaim it. We refuse to be the type of humanity that Oscar spoke about. We want to defend our values, our principles, and we don't look for the perfect conditions to do that. There is no perfect condition to fight against oppression. It is an oppression. It is colonization and genocide. It's not going to create an environment where you can attack it. You prepare, you organize, and you resist. We learn from the people of the world who fought colonization all their life. And recently, the ones that we are in solidarity with, the Palestinians for 80 years, fighting a government that is financed, supported, and maintained by many governments in the international community. And they still resist. They taught us resilience. They taught us to organize, to prepare, and to maintain steadfast, not to step back. We sail because it is our duty. It is our moral and ethical responsibility to act, not because we don't have a choice, not because there are no alternatives, because every action counts. Every action is complementary, whether on land or in sea. And we maintain the mobilization. From the moment we started to organize last year with our components of coalitions, we had one fact. This is not about sea mission. This is not about going through the Mediterranean or any other sea or ocean. It is about bringing people together, grassroots. It's about building an internationalist movement that takes Palestine as a pillar in our resistance and expands to all the oppressed people around the world. So it's not only about this mission, but we are organizing with our partners campaigns that will continue after this mission, such as I mentioned, the launch of the We Rise campaign today, the Palestinian Prisoners Day on the 17th of April. Actions are planned between the 15th and the 17th. The press freedom. So many journalists have been killed in so many wars. So we fight for that on the 4th of May through an online, offline, and digital campaign. And our arrival to Gaza will be an act of mobilization all around the world in coordination with our partners. The Nakba Day on the 15th of May, that we will continue to remember how this genocidal entity and government was established over the death, the displacement, and the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians, and continue to do so as one of its core values. Every Fridays and Mondays we mobilize and we go out. So we call on everyone, wherever you are, act. Don't wait. Act on land, on sea, in schools, in universities, in workers' unions, at ports. We act. We act because they want to use our ports to send weapons. We act because they want to make us an involuntary complicit in the genocide, in the wars that they are committing in our names. Bringing down this empire, it is our main responsibility for the protection of our children, for the protection of our families, for our collective freedom. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming, and a special thanks to all the media workers here in solidarity with your 262 colleagues that have been assassinated in Gaza in the last 2 years and a half. We are here in a historical moment for the launch day of the global Sumud Flotilla, the spring mission. Like has been said here before, we go under circumstances that are different from the previous mission. And that's why we adaptate our mission. That's why we adapt. So I'm here to give a big overview of what our plans are from now on. We had on the previous mission 42 boats that got close to Gaza and got intercepted with 462 people. Now this time we have over 70 boats, leaving 39 of them from here, Barcelona, and we are mobilizing more boats on the journey, try to get them ready for the sailing. So what we are doing right now is that we are bringing more boats than all the boats combined that ever tried to do this crossing over the Mediterranean to break the illegal siege of Gaza. This siege is 19 years old, by sea, by land, and by air. For 18 years, there were attempts to break this siege. The first 5 missions, they actually broke the siege. So we know it's possible to break it. And we will break it again. But this mission is not going alone by sea, like Saif mentioned. This mission is going with the over 70 boats, but it's also going with a land convoy from North Africa, leaving from Mauritania and going through many countries until it reaches Rafah border by land, with trucks, with a lot of aid and a lot of people. This mission is also mobilizing demonstrations, encampments, strikes, a parliamentary congress, and many other mobilizations, because we understand that it's a multiplicity of tactics that can make a difference right now. And we know that conditions are harder because of one specific fact. The ones that are perpetrating the most horrific violations in our generation, which is the Israeli Zionism, this racist and supremacist ideology that has been implementing genocide and ethnic cleansing, an apartheid colonial system in Palestine for over 8 decades, and US imperialism led by Donald Trump believe that they can commit their violence with total impunity. Their masks are off, and they have been shown a lot of willingness to do harm and to kill civilians. So that's why we are taking all the measures that we can in our mission to adapt to these specific circumstances. We know that all missions to break the siege, they face risks. This is not a risk-free mission. Despite the fact that the risk that we take on our mission like this is a humanitarian, non-violent solidarity mission, is a small fraction of the risk that Palestinians go through every single day for 8 decades. But nonetheless, we have responsibility with our participants. We have the duty of care for everybody who trusts and honor to answer to this call of the Palestinians for solidarity. So we train our participants in non-violent direct action so that they will not react even in the face of the most absurd and horrific violence. We train them a lot. We show them and we bring to them a debate on our risk assessment, on the circumstances. We give general assemblies where we bring the elements, where we bring the inputs that we have, where we bring the intelligence that we have, and we try together to make a decision. So on our way to Gaza, we'll have general assemblies on every stop. We are sailing now to Italy, to Sicily, and we have there our first general assembly. We've been having town halls with our participants as well, so that everybody that joins our mission consent to this mission. It's part of our mission to make sure that we are transparent, but also that we do not fear. So that's our plan right now. One element of our risk assessment is that Dana is here, the storm, the meteorological element that killed a lot of people here in this region before. It's here right now, and it does not allow us to sail safely. So this is an important notice that we have to give, that due to weather conditions, our mission will sail from this port today, but will not be sailing to international waters today because we cannot make this journey safely today. So we're going to another port, and then we continue our journey to Gaza. Maybe on our way we'll have other meteorological situations that will make us delay one more day in another port, another country. And this just happened today. So today is not the day that we are actually sailing to Gaza, but we are leaving this port. So our launch event remains the same. We are leaving here, going to Gaza in different steps, maybe sometimes having to stop a little bit to wait for the weather. That's the nature of a sea mission, and we will always adapt to safety. We will always adapt to the technical necessities of this mission. Another thing that is important to say, that we are monitoring the situation every single day. We are monitoring the bombings that are happening in South Lebanon, and in Dahi, and in Beirut, and everywhere else. We are monitoring the ceasefire talks. We are monitoring the plans of Netanyahu to expand its violence. We are checking that all the time and sharing with all of our participants because we know we are living different times. And we plan to assess that and we plan to respond to that, not with fear or with hesitation, but doing what is necessary with the responsibility that our generation has. The last thing that I'd like to say is that a mission like this is not risk-free. But the Palestinians have shown us that how society really works. They gave us the lenses to see the complicity everywhere. They gave us the lenses to see the violations that come from the people that we thought they were the lighthouse of civilization, of human rights, of civil liberties. They gave us not only the lenses to see all these violations, but they also gave us the map to understand how to become free. And this map shows that you need to resist, you need to mobilize everywhere. So we keep on mobilizing. Our task, and this historical task of our generation, is to make sure that we do not allow a future to be ruled by war criminals like Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. That will not allow to be ruled by big techs that wants to control every aspect of our lives. That will not be ruled by billionaires or by the industrial military complex that profit from war. We want a different future than that. We want to build a society free of exploitation, free of oppression, free of the destruction of nature. The Palestinian people have taught us not to fear the most horrific violators of our generation. Inspired by them, we keep on going. In solidarity with them, we keep on going. We do not fear them. They believe they have all the power. and they have a lot of weapons, a lot of bombs, a lot of violence, a lot of hate. But we have all the rest. We have solidarity. We have love, we have cooperation, we have the history of anti-colonial struggle, the history of revolutions that says that the people, when they unite in this long march to freedom, they are unstoppable, they are indestructible. And that's why we sail now. We do not wait, we will fulfill our historical task as this generation, the generation that decided to rise up, to change history, inspired by the Palestinian people, side by side with them in solidarity. Thank you so much for coming. The global Sumud Flotilla is sailing again.
Thank you, all of you, for your powerful remarks. Moltes gràcies per les vostres impactants i poderoses declaracions. Catalunya es volca amb la flotilla. Hem fet campanyes. Els nens i nenes de Barcelona i Catalunya han fet motxilles que aniran a Gaza. Hem fet campanyes contra el rearmament. Ens hem unit amb les professores de la vaga. Per tant, Catalunya seguirà mobilitzant-se per assegurar-nos que la flotilla no només està al mar, sinó que també trenca les complicitats i les relacions d'Israel amb Catalunya i Espanya. We will now take questions from media outlets. Can you please state your name and your outlet? We will take 3 questions at a time. Aurora will take your questions.
Hola, soy Elis de RFI y France 24. Quería saber si podéis hacer una valoración en cuanto a la expectación de la gente hoy respecto a la antigua misión. Es verdad que la última vez había muchísima gente, se hablaba mucho. No sé cómo lo explican vosotros el hecho de que no haya tanta gente, puede ser, o igual expectación mediática, política, por lo que pasa en Irán también. No sé si tenéis la sensación de que Gaza está un poco fuera del ámbito mediático y de la sociedad ya. La gente se ha olvidado un poco. Gracias.
I can translate the question. She's asking how would you explain the difference in mobilization and how many people are here in regards of last year, and whether you think that Gaza is no longer in the point of view and the focus.
I mean, this is part of the reason of mobilizing this systematic propaganda campaign that the US and Israel has been carrying for the last 6 months, telling people that there is no genocide, that there is peace, that there is nothing is happening there, making blackouts on information. It creates misinformation. It creates an awareness where people would feel that, okay, the situation is progressing and therefore we don't need to act. Yesterday we had a very good attendance. Yesterday by the afternoon we had the full space, full people came to speak to the boats. It's one of the things that we have changed. We have noticed there has been several mobilizations that we're organizing, not only for Palestine, but even a protest, anti-fascist right-wing protest in Barcelona a few weeks ago that a couple of hundreds attended to. So this participation issue is causing and impacting all our aspects of organization. I think our job, the ones who organize, the ones who mobilize, is to create awareness, is to create education, is to continue moving forward for this act to bring people to the streets again. This is one of the important tasks that our team on land will have along this mission, to make sure that we are able to do that. They should what?
Hola, bon dia. Oriol Soler del diario.es. Podríeu aclarir exactament el que ha comentat el Thiago Ávila, que avui no es anirà ja a aigües internacionals? Entenc que se salparà i es tornarà avui al port de Barcelona. Si ho podíeu aclarir. Gràcies.
Yes, can you clear out what the exact plan is for sailing?
Thank you so much for bringing this. Our idea was to sail from Mal de la Fusta to international waters, and then we would get to the first port where we would stop, which is Sicily. So the thing is that the meteorological conditions do not allow us to go without risking our integrity and risking the capacity of our boats. Let's remember last year when the sense of urgency with the full invasion of Gaza City, our willingness to go was so intense that we took a harsher weather on the first night and it had a damage to our boats. And we don't want to do that. We have a responsibility with this mission to arrive to Gaza with the boats with full integrity, with the aid. We have a responsibility to our participants as well. We have very experienced captain and crew, but some of the participants are going for the first time on a boat. They have been training, they did sea trials, they are going for the first time on a long journey. So we're not facing the Dana, this meteorological effect, right now, today. So what we're going to do is that we move from Model La Fusta that was very kindly brought to us by the Ayuntamiento de Barcelona and the Catalunya as well, that so kindly supported this mission and turned Barcelona into the world capital of solidarity today. But we are moving to another port, still in Barcelona, and then as soon as the meteorological conditions allow, we expect this to happen one day or two the most, we sail on the next port. Thank you.
Easy. Yeah.
Hi, good morning. I had a question regarding the quantity of humanitarian aid that you're bringing with you guys to Gaza. Can you tell us some figures about the amount of aid that you're bringing with you? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. We have to let everyone understand that our main mission is not bringing aid that is enough for the people of Gaza. What we are trying to do is to break the siege. What we are trying to do is to open a humanitarian sea corridor so that those who work by sending aid can do their jobs. We are bringing aid, yes, but we are not focusing on that part of the mission. What we are doing is to break the siege and let aid go into the Gaza Strip by land and by sea, because we know that there are tons and tons of aid being sent into the Gaza Strip by countries, by NGOs, by organizations, but it is being stopped at the borders. So we are pushing for this aid to get into the Gaza Strip, and we are also pushing to open the sea corridor. And I would like to take this opportunity also to bring our attention to our Tunisian brothers who is part of our solidarity movement. They have been doing this together with us for such a long time. They have been part of the planning of this mission for several months, giving their dedication, and now they are putting hope on us to be able to remember us and to pressure for the release of 6 of our Tunisian brothers who are still in prison today, who are still being held in custody because of judgments that are still not clear to us. So please do not forget also our Tunisian brothers and sisters who are in custody, and we ask the Tunisian government, the great people of Tunisia, to support us again in this mission as they supported us last time. Tunisia is a great friend of Palestine, and we ask that you show us in action that our brothers and sisters can also be a part of this mission and can be freed again, inshallah.
More questions?
Hola, ¿qué tal? Soy Rosa de France Press y quería preguntaros, disculpad que insista de nuevo sobre el tema de la salida. Entonces, hoy, si lo he entendido bien, hacéis una salida, os quedáis en Barcelona y por cuestiones meteorológicas, y planeáis cómo hacer otro acto de salida cuando vayáis a Gaza, o iréis comunicando como Gracias.
Gracias por traer eso. Yo voy a contestar en español esta vez porque en castellano, porque hay muchas preguntas en castellano. Tal vez sea útil para ustedes también que tengan eso. Y ahí tal vez Saif o algún camarada puede traducir. La salida desde Barcelona es hoy. Entonces, por condiciones técnicas, vamos a otro puerto, pero el evento de salida es hoy. Si pasa algo que nos obliga a quedar más tiempo, tal vez podemos reconsiderar, pero tratamos que nuestras personas, nuestros barcos, todo el trabajo está listo para salir. Son las condiciones meteorológicas que nos permiten. Entonces, en todos los otros países también, los puertos donde vamos, tendremos los eventos de lanzamiento y condiciones técnicas pueden hacer demorar, pero el evento de lanzamiento es lo que programamos con la fuerza social que tenemos, con los periodistas, con los parlamentarios, y hay tantos acá que hacen un trabajo tan bonito, con los trabajadores voluntarios, las hormiguitas como nosotros también, que están todos los días ahí preparando los barcos. El momento del lanzamiento es cuando reunimos nuestra fuerza, nuestra capacidad de movilización para tener una salida que honre el apoyo y la confianza del pueblo palestino y que diga a ellos que no están solos. Entonces, desde allá es una salida mucho más técnica. Ahí salimos muchas veces más temprano también, porque el evento de lanzamiento adapta las condiciones de salida para que ustedes puedan estar con nosotros, pero muchas veces el momento mejor, técnicamente, en sentido de navegación, es más temprano. Gracias.
Hola. No sé si tenéis pedido pedir escolta cuando vayáis pasando por las aguas territoriales de camino hasta la zona.
Nosotros no hemos pedido escolta para poder llegar a Gaza. Lo que pedimos es que los gobiernos hagan su trabajo en parar el genocidio. El papel que tienen los gobiernos no es en venir para proteger a los activistas blancos que quieren ir por el mar para enfrentar la complicidad. Si ellos hacen su trabajo, nosotros no tenemos que navegar. La mayoría de que estamos aquí tenemos niños en casa, tenemos familia, la mayoría de las personas que están viajando tienen su familia, sus hijos, sus hijas, y ninguno de nosotros quiere salir por ganas de llegar hasta Gaza por mar. Pero salimos para el futuro de nuestras familias, salimos para el futuro de nuestra humanidad y salimos porque los políticos no están haciendo lo que tienen que hacer. Lo que necesitamos no es que nos acompañen para escoltar o proteger, lo que necesitamos es que actúen para parar el genocidio, dejar de invertir guerras, dejar de vender y comprar armas, dejar de que sean nuestros puertos los que mandan las armas a las guerras que van organizando. Eso es lo que necesitamos. Entonces, que actúen, no solamente hagan declaraciones, no solamente resoluciones de embargo falsas que no se aplican. Lo que necesitamos es que actúen. Y aprovechando este momento, como estamos en el evento de salida que va a empezar, como ha dicho Tiago, este trabajo que estamos aquí es gracias a cientos y cientos de personas voluntarias que están trabajando desde que se acabó la misión anterior hasta hoy sin parar. Y cuando salen los barcos, los que van a seguir en tierra van a seguir trabajando. Entonces quiero aprovechar para dar las gracias a cada persona que ha dejado su tiempo sin parar durante todos esos días para que nosotros podamos hacer esta misión. Muchas gracias.
No? Okay. We wanted to tell you that at 12:30 there will be remarks by political figures in the boats behind you. Volíem dir-vos que a les 12:30 hi haurà figures polítiques fent remarcacions i declaracions als barcos darrere vostre i que estan oberts a premsa. They're open to answering questions for the press. Thank you so much for coming. Moltes gràcies per venir.
Thank you so much.